Hello and welcome to another tutorial on API testing with Python series. Today let's talk about how can we do parameterization with Pytest. When exactly you need to do parameterization? Um, when you have a test case that needs to be run over and over again for different data sets, then you can go with the parameterization. It's also sometimes referred to as data-driven testing. Now let's see how we can do this with the help of Pytest. I'm using Vim editor here. So first thing you need to import Pytest. Let's import Pytest. What you need to do is define the data. Let's say I'm going to define a data for simple multiplication operation here. Basically your data is a list of lists. So I'll have three data sets here. Okay. Say let me give some values 1, 2 and 2. And say 2, 4 and 8. Then one more, say 3, 3 and 9. So if the data is ready, then you can define your test case as say test mul. So before that you need to mark your test case as for parameterization. This you need to mention the decorator here. Say pytest mark dot parameterize. Then you need to mention the arguments here. Let's say comma b, let's say e for expected results. Also make sure you don't give separate codes for each arguments. I got stuck there quite for a long time actually. So that is the one thing you need to focus on there. So here I can give the test data. Say let's test underscore data. Once you do that, your test case needs to have the parameterization, the same parameters a, b, comma, c. Here basically the number of rows in your test data says how many times you're going to run the test case, and the number of columns are basically how many parameters are there. So this needs to be e. Okay, now I'm just going to give a simple assert statement here. Assert same a star b equal to double equals to e. I'm going to save this and run this. Say pytest, then name of the file test para. Okay, then minuscule or verbosity argument here. Okay. Okay, as you can see it says it ran the test 3 times and it passed. Now let me just fail one test case in between. So let's see what happens. I'm going to change 8 to 7 and save the file. Let me just run the file one more time. Now as you can see, second one has failed. So main advantage of using the parameters option with Pytest is that you can always run your tests in loops if you have a dataset, but if anything in between fails, the entire execution going to stop. That's the advantage of using parameterization. Even though your test case failed for some dataset, you can carry on the testing. So next thing, okay, this as you can see, I don't have a class here. I don't have the test case class defined under a class. So if you have as you know, if you have a setup and teardown, you have to define the test case under a class. But unfortunately, this option, parameterize option, does not work very well under a class. So you may need to tweak this a little bit if you want to have a setup and teardown. So what you can do actually is that you can set a flag here, say setup is equal to 0, say 1. Okay, now what you can do is that before define a setup case here, we say diff setup, and can say I'm just going to print this print the state, give a print statement here, say this is setup. So what you need to do here is you just need to make sure that it only runs in the beginning, right? So what you can do is after this print statement or whatever your setup part, once that completes, you can actually set the flag to say 0. Now here what you need to do is call the setup, that is only if setup, then call setup. This way it will execute only once, because once the first time when your setup gets executed, then your flag will be 0, so it won't execute one more time. This is the simple trick you can use, since you cannot have parameterization under unit tests under a class basically. So let's see how if it works fine or not. I'm just going to run this. Let me just make sure this is all pass. You get rate 8 here again. Save the file and run this. Now so I'll add a capture option here just to get the print statement. Capture is no. Let me just run the file. So as you can see, this setup ran before each test case, right? So that didn't work out very well. Let's see why. So what happened? This is once okay. So what I did was it considered it as local variable. Let me just make this as a global. So if you want this is only a problem if you want like a suit level setup. If it's a class level setup, we can actually include that part within your test case. So you need to run it anyway before the test case, but it will run as a part of your test case. So I'm just going to say global setup, and let me just save this file and let's see. Now it ran 3 times. This is not supposed to happen. This is just supposed to run 1 time actually. Well, I printed quite a bit of times here. So as you can see, there's just one statement. That means our setup has run only once. So yeah, this is a simple trick if you want to set up to your parameterization. Since you cannot add this you cannot run parameterize option within a class, so that is a simple trick to achieve that. So that's about it, and thanks for watching.